Hello and good evening to everyone out there in podcast land. This is your ghost host with the most. This is Dennis Carroll, and this is another edition of Hunting the Shadows. Yep, another episode of Hunting the Shadows is heading right at you here. Okay, good to have you all aboard. We have a great show planned for tonight. The name of the title of the show is To See the Unseen. How to see the unseen. We're going to talk about that tonight. Do you know what you're really missing in this world? It's time to wake up and smell the bacon because it's cooking, baby. Yep. It's time to figure out what's really going on, and it's time to get our act together and get on top of our game. Absolutely. Want to welcome you all here tonight. Midwest Night Watcher, my brother's in the house. The ever lovely Miss Shiro. Gus's mom, girl, and her gone. Welcome aboard, Wizard Moon. Good to have you here, Wizard Moon. Catherine Pierce, the Lantern Keeper, is here. Good to have you on board, too. I appreciate you all showing up tonight. We're going to have a great show. I'm going to talk about some stuff you never hear about, okay? MPW 33. Yep, I do that without my glasses, okay? Welcome aboard. All right, Damien. All right. We're slowly gathering in the grotto tonight. It's a kind of a cold, chilly spring night out there. But we're going to have some warm conversation and warm hearts in here tonight. Absolutely. And we're going to get some stuff done. Hello, Patty. Good to have you here. And we've got some new people in the house tonight. That's good. We want some new people coming on board. Absolutely. We welcome you here. If this is your first trip, is your first rodeo with us, welcome aboard. And we hope you stay with us and hang in there because we're going to have a lot of interesting stuff coming up. I've got some stuff to tell you about that we've got also coming up here. I'm just waiting for a few more people to gather in. Hello, Monica, dear. And we're waiting for a few more of them to slowly make their way in here, but that's okay. It's life happens. It takes you a while to get on the board the strange train sometime, but it's not going to leave the station without you. Okay, absolutely not. And oh yeah, that was an excellent show with Jessica today. If you missed it, go please check it out. We talked about cryptids and secret government psyops. It was a fantastic show. Go and check it out on the Cryptid. It's either on Cryptid Huntress channel or it's on my channel too, on Hunting the Shadows YouTube podcast channel. Either one, go check it out. It's in my library as well. But it was very engaging. We had a great show Monday night with my brother Gerald Fountain. On the road less traveled, we investigated the mysteries of Mount Shasta. You talking about a great show? It was fantastic. If you missed it, go back and watch it. It's available there, and it won't cost you anything either. We won't charge you. And yes, tomorrow I will be appearing with my good friend Shanti on Aquarius Rising Africa. We will be talking about the cryptids of the Carolinas. This is something I know very well, and I'm gonna throw some on you you have never heard before. Okay, so I've got some lined up for you, and it's gonna be a great show tomorrow, and then Sunday night. Well, I will be with the Duchess. The Duchess Danielle Diva Bordelon will be on her show that I think will be around 9 o'clock Sunday night Eastern Standard Time. You might want to watch for that. And also got a show with Lord Starfox, Kenny the Lord Starfox, on his show coming up. And when that is available, I will definitely put the link on there, and it will be in the library as well. We had a fantastic show on that. This is the Divas channel here. Tea Time with the Duchess, I think she calls it. It's going to be a great show, so tune in for that, absolutely. And this is Star Fox Radio. There you go. That's the link for that. It will be appearing very shortly on that. You need to check him out. He has some great shows. He also has our friend Jessica on there as well, on a regular basis too. So I'm on there on a regular basis also. So we talk about a lot of interesting stuff. Well, hello, here is the lovely and ever beautiful Miss Crystal Carol Cleveland. She's in the house. Hey, hey, girl, how you doing? All right. And M13 is here. Hello. I was Jessica Jones earlier. Again, hello again. Well, glad to have you here, M13. Hope you always get to ride on the train with us, okay? Tonight we're going to be talking about how to see the unseen. There's a lot of stuff going on in this world, and we need to be aware of it. Absolutely. We don't need to be like the traditional ostrich with his head in the sand. Well, you know what happens when you got your head in the sand? Your butt is sticking up as a target, okay? Don't ever forget that. So you don't want to do that. You definitely want to be aware. You want to be aware of what's going on. And I'm going to talk about that tonight. Hello, Philip, my good nephew. Glad to have you here, sir. Yes, unseen forces that are moving in this world, and we need to be able to see some of this unseen stuff, okay? And we're going to talk about that shortly. Going to wait for a few more minutes, let a few more stragglers get in here before we commence. But this is going to be a fascinating stuff. I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if you don't know about me. I'm ex-law enforcement. And that is one of the things that the first thing that they teach you in law enforcement. And that is this motto: observe everything, okay? Did you hear that? Observe everything. Don't just superficially look at something and write it off. Go deep into it. Look at it really good, not just glance. I mean, look at it. You know, I still train myself in this. I can pass somebody walking on the side of the road, and I can tell you exactly what clothes they're wearing, if they got a mustache or whatever. I see the whole thing. I try to take it in as much as possible. It's very important that we become aware of everything around us in our environment, because we are our environment and our environment is us. We got to remember that. It's very important. Now, if any of the members happen to see that video I dropped last night on the handshake, I hope you got a chance to check it out. You will know that there are some stuff going on in this world that, really will blow your mind when you think about it. I shook hands with a monster, okay? And I'm going to tell you about that right now. I will tell some more about this later on. But now the members heard about it. And if you're not a member of the Shadow Hunters Club, you might want to think about it, because we're going to have some great videos coming. And then I'm going to be telling a lot about my cases, some of my experiences that you don't hear here, okay? And this is for the members only. So if you're not a member, you might want to consider doing that. And anyway, I talked about that the other night. Yes, I shook hands with a monster. Okay, I'm not going to get deep into that tonight to tell you about it, but it was a very interesting experience. And I did not know that once that's what I was shaking hands with when it happened, okay? And that's what's going on in this world, folks. A lot of things, and what we talked about on with Jessica show today, a lot of things that appear to be what they are in this world are not the real stuff. There's a lot of wild stuff going on here, and we are being misdirected. I like to call it misdirection. They are trying to keep us from seeing some stuff that we really essentially need to see. And thank you there, Gone, for that link. That is the Hunting the Shadows Patreon. I have a Patreon, but I also have a YouTube membership. Okay, that's called Hunting the Shadows, Shadow Hunters Club. I'm sorry, and check that out if you get a chance. We also have a Patreon. Hello, Cass. Good to have you here. Ada. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot going on in this world, and we need to understand some of the stuff that we're seeing and what we're not seeing here, Let's learn to develop our discernment. Absolutely, M13. We've got discernment is very essential, as I said on Jessica's show today, essential for survival. Your survival, our survival, is dependent upon this discernment that we need to cultivate. It can be cultivated. It can be exercised like a muscle on your body. You know, if you quit using your leg or your arm, the muscles go away. Muscles are made to be what? Used. And this is like a muscle. Discernment is like a muscle. Go with your gut feeling sometimes. Go with your intuition. Go with what feels right or what feels wrong. Pay attention to it. You need to. It's very essential that you do that. Absolutely. Hello, Cryptid Hunter. It's good to have you here. And welcome aboard the Strange Train. But we need to try to cultivate our talent to see the unseen that's around us. And then you might say, now, how do you do this, Dennis? How can I see the unseen? Well, there are certain ways you can do this. What I said just a few minutes ago about observe everything. It's very important that you see everything going on around you. See it for what it is. Pay attention to it. Don't fall for that misdirection sometimes. Some things want to distract you for a purpose. They have a purpose behind their distraction. Don't fall for that. What you want to do is stay focused and concentrated on things. Okay? When you walk in a room, know that room. Know what's in it. Know where it's at. What's on the floor. What's on the ceiling. Look at everything. Don't just look at one part. Don't say, you know what? What bugs me about some men, of course, they have a bad habit of staring at a woman's chest without ever looking at her face. Some men do that, and that is very discerning. Very discerning for some women. I'm sure it is, and I can understand what they're doing. And that's not right. I mean, when you look at somebody, I always like to look them in the eyes. When I'm talking to somebody, I want to look at somebody's eyes. I want to see what's the reflection of their soul coming back on it. And that's what you need to do. Don't be distracted by other things. You've got to focus, people. You got to focus on things. And sometimes when you focus, you will see what was unseen to you. Okay, now I'm talking about the physical world right now. We're going to get into the spiritual world in a little while here. But I'm talking right now about the physical world around you. Okay, you've got to stay focused. You've got to concentrate. You've got to observe everything. Okay, absolutely. Hello there, Red Pill Preacher. Good to have you aboard, sir. We've got to start training ourselves to do this. Okay, it takes concentration, but it can be done. It's not that hard to do, and it will become a second nature to you. That's when you succeed with it. When you do something without thinking about it. Okay, now I have had people accuse me in the past of being an investigator for some things that don't necessarily need to be investigating sometimes. But that's my nature. That's what my nature has become. I am a boots on the ground field and investigative researcher. Okay, that's what I do. I can't get out of it. It has become a part of me now. It's just like my arm or my leg or my neck. It's become a part of me. And that's what you need to do. That's how you need to cultivate this stuff. That's how you need to go after it. That's how you need to assimilate these things, especially with your physical environment around you. Now, let me tell you something about that. Once you get in tune, once you stay tuned with your invisible environment around you, then you pick up on things that are unseen, but you will see the unseen in many ways. Not maybe just with your eyeballs, but you will perceive it with your mind. You will feel it with your spirit. When you get in tune with this stuff, don't you understand what I'm saying here? When you get on the same wavelength with everything else around you, you pick up things better. You're like an antenna. You know what I'm saying? You're pulling a signal in, and you can access it. Now, it's one thing to pull that signal in. It's another thing to discern what's going on with that signal. Okay. Like if I'm going to give you an example. Okay. Let's say I'm walking down the street and I see a young boy playing with a ball. I need to just, and I'll just look at it, but I can go on down the street and tell you, if you're standing beside me, what color that ball was, what kind of ball that was, what clothes that boy had on, what he was doing, where he was at on the street, and what he looked like. I should be able to tell you every bit of that if I'm in tune and balanced with my environment. You understand? And that's why I've said it, and I think Jessica and I have said this before on her show. You've got to live inside of that moment. We all need to live inside our moments that we're having here. This is real life, folks. We need to be alive. We need to be 110% alive to the moments that we're living in. You understand where I'm coming from on this? What do you think about that? Right, you got to have your excellent observation skills, girl or gone. That's true. Yeah, you and Jessica says you got to stay present. How very true that is. Don't let things distract you. Don't lose your concentration. Stay directed on what you're doing and what you're seeing and what you're feeling around you. And then what you see physically and feel physically will bleed over into the spiritual aspects that you have. Now, we talked about that today. That intuition, that feeling that you get is in you for a reason. It was given to you by God and nature, my friends, okay? And it's not nice to fool. Remember that old commercial? It's not nice to fool Mother Nature. It's not good to impede Mother Nature, especially when it's working in you. And I'm not talking about just intuition. I'm talking about other instinct that you have, okay, that's built into you. Pay attention to that. When the hairs on the back of my neck raise up, I don't write that off, folks. I'm saying, hey, there's something going on and I need to check it out. I need to see what it is. I need to see what has triggered me. We need to have a very fine, very light trigger that we pick up on this stuff, and we need to say, well, what's going on here? And don't brush it off. Don't say, a lot of people have a bad habit of not trusting themselves on stuff like this. You know, they say, oh, I just think I'm imagining that, or oh, I just feel that I'm wrong about that. They write things off for the wrong reasons. Don't do that to yourself. Okay? If something's happening, go with it and find out what's going on, you know. That's what you got to do. And once you get yourself in tune with your environment, then guess what happens? The spiritual aspect of you heightens. Your vibration rises. Okay, you're on the right frequencies. You're hitting all the right frequencies you need to hit. That is where you need to be. You've got to go with that higher vibration thing going on. That's exactly where that equation of balance needs to be. Then that is exactly where you want to do, and that's why you want to train yourself. And you can do this. This is not hard, okay? This is not rocket scientist. This is not rocket science or nuclear fusion here, folks. This is easy stuff I'm giving you. This is not this is not something that is way out there that nobody can do. This is something everybody can develop. All it takes is willpower to do it. Willpower. You know, remember what that stuff was? Willpower. Yeah. That's why it comes in handy if you use it the right way. Not the wrong way, but the right way. You can form good habits. You can if you try. Bad habits are very easy to form because they mostly are formed out of one thing. What? Laziness. But good habits are formed out of what? Concentration and consciousness. That's what you got to go with. M13 says, I've had premonitions and intuitions, but there's so much going on at the time I didn't know it was that. That's right. You got distracted. We need to work against that. We need to handle that distraction. We need to catalog it and put it on the back burner sometimes and say, oh, hold on. You got your place in line. Okay. But right now I need to do something else. You don't need to let that distraction misdirect you, like we talked about on Jessica's show today. Misdirection is what certain forces in this universe and in this world do to distract you and keep you from seeing what? The unseen. And what you want to see is the You want to see the unseen. You don't want to be distracted from it. You want to see everything going on. Let me tell you what, okay? I guess we would probably be driven insane if we saw everything. There's a lot of things we probably don't need to see, but there are a lot of things we do need to see. Okay? A lot of things we do need to see, and that is very, very important. Okay? M13 says I constantly want to develop these intuitive and psychic abilities, natural discernment. That's where it comes in at MP13 there. Okay, M13. That's where it comes in at. Concentration, being on the right frequency, vibrational level that you need to be on, balanced with your environment. Then you begin to pick up stuff spiritually that's there that you don't see. But then you begin to pick up on it. Don't you understand? Because what have you done? You have opened yourself up. When you open yourself up, there's like a door in your house or a door on your car. You can move in and out. Okay? It's very important that you do that. Okay? Thank you, Danette, for that super sticker. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Absolutely. Once you open that door, once you open yourself up, now you don't want to do it in a bad way. You want to do this in a good way so that you can have this discernment. You open yourself up to what's going on around you. You become more acclimated to it. And then you will begin to see things you never saw before. You know, over the years, and I've had a lot of paranormal investigations. Okay, a lot of them. Thousands of them. I have been doing this for over half a century now. Okay. And it never gets old to me. It's still fascinating. I'm still learning stuff. Don't ever stop learning. That's what part of the existence of being a human is, learning. If you ever stop learning, you become a whole lot less human than you could ever be. So don't do that. That's the trap to fall into. Always be wanting to learn. Unfortunately, nowadays, we got way too many so-called experts. Everybody thinks they're an expert on something. We can't. They're not real experts. They think they are. Okay, a real expert has been boots on the ground in stuff like this with experience for years and years and years, and they're learning. They're constantly learning. Some of these so-called armchair experts read a book or two and they think they're an expert, and that's it. They don't go out. They don't do things. They don't live in that moment. As Jessica said, they're not living in that moment. They're not learning. They're not picking up on the things that they need to pick up on. Don't be your own expert. Be a learner. Be somebody who wants to learn and expand and grow and open yourself up to these things. Okay? Not bad things, but good things. And you do it in a good way, in a scholarly way. Try to stay unemotional about it because your emotions can get in the way sometimes, okay? It's good to love what you research. Nothing wrong with that. You enjoy it. You're fascinated by it, but don't become overly obsessed with it. That's one thing I tell people. Be very careful about that because that can lead down a bad road. But what you do is you want to stay absolutely as focused on this as possible. You will begin to see things. Trust me, I know this without doubt. You will begin to see things that were unseen to you, that may be unseen to the whole world around us. You will pick up on these things. A lot of paranormal investigations, and over the years, thousands of people have told me, I saw something right out of the corner of my eye. I caught a glimpse of something real quick. I don't know what it was. It was a shadow. It was this. It was this. What they're seeing is in a moment in time, they got very lucky, and for just a moment, they caught the action that was really going on around them, and they just didn't know it. That's what we're talking about here. If they had been more open to it, they would have seen more than just a glance or just something out of the corner of the eye. Don't you understand what I'm saying? If they had been in tune more with that environment they were in, they would have seen more and picked up on more and understood more of what was possibly going on around them. Now, let me say something about the human eye. The human eye can only see so much in a wavelength of light. I forget exactly what it was, but it's not very much in the light spectrum. There's a whole lot of other light around us in the spectrum that would boggle the mind that we are not seeing. We're not picking up on it. Animals, dogs, and cats can see things that we cannot see. Children sometimes can see things even grown-ups can't see. Why? Because they are more in tune to their environment. Trust me, I know this. Let me tell you this about a dog, okay? Or a cat, even for that matter. You sit and watch an animal. Did you know you can understand? If you watch them and observe them closely, you can tell what that animal is thinking. If you catch on to what they're doing, you can tell what they're thinking. Some of you dog owners out there will know what I'm talking about here. You know what sometimes, a lot of times, what your dog is going to do before he does it. You see what I'm saying? You've already picked up on him. You've already concentrated. You've already focused on that dog enough to know what it's going to do. You're communicating with that animal, even though neither one of you can speak a word that either one of you will understand. Although dogs do understand us more than we understand them, I think. Anyway, you're not speaking a language of sound that much. You're speaking a language of the mind. You're picking up on things that you know, the habits of that animal, and what it does. Let me tell you something about dogs and cats. No matter what they do, here's one thing you can take home to the bank on this. Okay, listen very closely to me. They will not lie to you. Did you hear what I just said? They will not tell you a lie. They will only tell you what they feel and what they know in their environment. They can be wrong. They can be wrong like we are. We are wrong about a lot of things sometimes. They can be wrong. But guess what? When we get to this plateau of a relationship, we're on a what? We're no longer on a physical level here. What are we? We're on a spiritual level. You can be on a spiritual level with your dog or your cat or your child or your husband or your wife without ever really knowing it, my friends. You are seeing the unseen, whether you realize it or not. But there are other things out there. There are other things that you do not see. There may be spirits. There may be different types of things going on out there. There may be other kind of beings. Maybe if you're attuned to your environment, maybe if you've got that discernment working the way it needs to work, maybe if you're on that vibrational frequency you need to be, you will see those things as well. I've seen it happen. I'm not making this up. I'm not saying, oh, this is a theory. This is fact. You will see stuff that you never thought possible before, but you got to open yourself up to it. You got to open yourself up. So you see where I'm going with this, don't you? The environment that you live in, wherever you walk and whatever you walk in, I'm gonna tell you something. I got to the point, and I'm not giving myself a pat on the shoulder for this, okay? I just got to the point where I could walk into some places and tell you something bad that happened there. I'm not a psychic, okay? I'm not psychic. I have never claimed psychic abilities, but I have tried to stay in tune with my environment as much as possible. I can tell a lot of times when something is very good or something is very evil going on in a certain place. I feel it in my bones. I know when it's going to rain, by the way. A lot of us know when it's going to rain, when the smell of the rain gets there before the rain ever does. Right? We pick up on that, don't we? We're in tune to our environment if we do stuff like that. Same thing if you feel it in your bones sometimes. You can feel it in the weather change in your bones. Feel that, folks. That is discernment right there. Okay? That's what discernment is all about. Yeah, it's empathy. It's empathy not only with other people and animals, but it's empathy with your environment, with what is around you. And the unseen, my friends, the unseen aspects of this universe are all around us. Many years ago, when I got into metaphysics, to become a doctor of metaphysics, that's the one thing I wanted to see. I wanted to know how this unseen aspect, and I saw the unseen, okay? I wanted to know how the unseen aspects of this universe affect the seen things, affects us, affects our environment and how it works with us. This is fascinating stuff. You want to study something fascinating, study metaphysics, my friends. It'll blow your mind out of the universe. It is wild stuff. When you get into that, you will understand just how much you are truly missing out on, okay? You feel it in your hands of the weather. Yeah, I do too. I feel it. I feel it in my bones. Absolutely. I know when bad cold weather's coming, I can feel it in my bones too. I know when a storm is coming. By the way, I got struck by lightning years ago. I was telling Jessica about this today. I got struck by lightning years ago, and that was before I ever saw a Bigfoot. A lot of people who see Bigfoot, by the way, have been struck by lightning. I don't know if it did anything to me, but it could have. It could have affected me in many different ways. Yes, girl on the ground. Metaphysics is absolutely fascinating subject. It is something. It is a true, I call it a true science, but they don't recognize it as a true science, but it is a true science because it is how the unseen affects the seen. And how the seen can affect the unseen. It's a two-way street here, folks. It works both ways. It's a two-edged knife. It cuts both ways. Anyway, hey, Head Trip, good to have you here. Anyway, the whole thing is you need to understand that the unseen aspects of the universe can affect you very badly sometimes. Look at these germs that are around us. They can unalive you very quickly, and yet you can't even see them. Think about that a moment, and then wonder what else is in the universe that's out there that can't be seen. It is a head trip, definitely. It is a mind blowing thing to think about it. Yeah, absolutely. As for the lightning thing, thank goodness lightning doesn't strike the same place twice, or does it? I've heard it does. But anyway, it depends on how tall a tree is. Anyway, there used to be an old superstition that dogs attract lightning. I don't know why they say that, but that's what they used to say. So be careful when you take your dog for a walk in a thunderstorm, okay? But anyway, I don't believe that. I think, superstitions are that way. But anyway, as I'm reading this book on tuberculosis, TB, oh yeah, TB is a bad thing. It used to be called what? Consumption. And it does consume you from the inside out. Absolutely. Anyway, what I was going to say is that there are certain aspects of the universe that will remain unseen no matter what we do. I'm going to tell you why. Okay, and you got to understand that. That's the very nature of some of these things, is to keep themselves hidden. Okay, but you get a glimpse. If you are more in tune with your environment, if you're more open to these things, if you're vibrating on that level you need to be on, then you get a better chance at glimpsing these things. Okay, you get a better chance at glimpsing them than other people have. So you're still a leg up in the saddle. You know what I'm talking about here? So it's still good to be this way. So that's what you got to concentrate on, and you can make it a habit. You can open yourself up to these things, and you can see some of the things that need to be seen. Absolutely. And when you do see some things that are unseen, don't let it bother you because they're existing in your universe, just like you are. You got to understand that, okay? It's not something that's way out of your league. They're existing in the same universe you are. They're vibrating on about the same level, slightly different maybe, than you are, okay? But they're still here. They're still existing. They are part of this universe. You got that? You understand that? The universal acceptance of these things for what they are is their existence is. They are part of this universe. So when you do see these things, understand that there's a natural thing going on here. Okay. Now, when you talk about the supernatural, you're going far above the paranormal. People get those two terms mixed up a lot. I hate it when they do that. Supernatural and paranormal mean two completely different things. They get used to both for the same purposes, but it's not true. Paranormal means slightly above the normal, something extraordinarily above the normal. Supernatural means far and above the natural. Supernatural. There's a big difference in that, folks. There's a big gap in there, okay, between both of those things. And you got to understand that when you experience something paranormal, it can be seen and unseen. When you experience something supernatural, it's most of the time unseen until it wants to be seen. You understand what I'm saying? Or it is revealed. Okay. Now, let me tell you this. Those who meditate and pray on a regular basis have a better mindset and they're not distracted. Why? Because they've learned to focus on something. You understand what I'm saying here? Praying and meditating are excellent exercises for obtaining the goal of discernment. Okay. And by the way, that is a gift of God, by the way, discernment. Ask God to give you discernment. I mean, ask it in the right way, not demand it. I mean, ask it as a gift. Receive it as a gift, and you will get discernment that way. Okay. And you get God given discernment. You can see a lot of things that a lot of people don't understand. But what is real true discernment is being able to see through the illusion, being able to see through the lies, the misdirection, and the misinformation, to see the real heart of the matter for what it truly is. Not what you think it is, not what you want to believe it is, but what it truly 100% is. That is absolute discernment. You understand where I'm getting at on that? That's why it is a gift from God. Girl in the Dawn says she's always prays for discernment. Absolutely. Ask for it. It is a gift. All you got to do is receive it. Believe and receive. See, receive, and believe. Okay? That's the way it works. I have 2 accounts. Please share in spirit with a like and thank you from my heart. Okay, well, you got 2 accounts. All right. But anyway, the energy is the conduit. Definitely freedom. But energy must be directed. You understand what I'm saying? That's why it can't be distracted. It must be focused, directed by the consciousness. Okay? You understand that? That's where you're coming from with what we're talking about tonight. Okay? That's where it's got to go. And that's where prayer and meditation come in. They help you focus. Now, I talked about this before, and I'm not going to get into that tonight. I'm not going to preach a sermon for you tonight. But a lot of times people pray the wrong way. Yeah, they are praying the wrong way. I'm sorry to tell you that. You're screwing up, okay? Because they think God is like a genie in a bottle. All they ever do is say, I want this, I want this, I want this, I need this, I need this, I need this, gimme, 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 gimme. I think even God gets disgusted with that after a while. I wouldn't blame him. Because he's not Walmart, folks. He's not Kmart or whatever store you got around you. He's not that. He's not Amazon. Okay? So, what did the Bible say about that? With humbleness, present your petitions. Asking for something is different than wanting something. Did you understand what I'm saying here? Asking for what you need is different than asking for what you want. See what I'm saying? I can want $1 million, but I may not need it. You see what I'm saying? God already knows what you need. You're wasting God's time a lot of times just asking for what you need because he knows what you need. Humble yourself and ask for what he wants you to have. Did you hear that? Did you get that? What he wants you to have, not what you want to have. That's the way to pray. And you pray for other people too. Don't get up about you all. It's all about you. The universe does not revolve around you. It does not revolve around you. It doesn't even revolve around the sun, okay? It's not all about you. The sun doesn't rise and set on you. There are other people in this world. You have to have empathy for those people. You have to have sympathy. Those two words, empathy and sympathy. Yeah. You need to be praying for other people and asking for them, especially if they had a bad problem going on with them, And I'm not talking about just diseases, aches and pains. I'm talking about the other problems as well, spiritual problems, physical, mental problems. You need to be praying for these people. Guess what? Surprise, surprise. You need to be praying for the people that hate your guts. Let me tell you something. If you pray for people that hate you, then guess what happens? You are enabled to love them. Love your enemies as yourself. Think about that a moment, okay? It's very important that you let that sink in. Once you pray for someone, you forgive them for first off. If they've done anything to you, you got to forgive those people. Absolutely. I mean, not you may never forget it, but you got to forgive it and put it behind you and move on and not hold it against them. That's true forgiveness, okay? You don't bring it and throw it up in their face every time they turn around. That's not forgiveness, folks. I'm talking about true forgiveness here. You got to forgive them. I don't care what they've done to you. I had a cousin one time that had to forgive a man that murdered her son, but she knew she had to forgive him. You got to do it. And then God can forgive you. And then if you start praying for your enemy, eventually the love of God will help you to love your enemies. Not just your friends. It's okay to love your friends. It's okay to love your relatives. God wants that, absolutely. But you got to love your enemies too. I know that sounds weird. That sounds way out there, wild kind of stuff. But that's what it's all about. That's where the true love of God comes into play. Okay? And once you do these things, you have opened yourself up spiritually to a lot more in this universe, my friends, than you've ever dreamed possible. You have opened the doors of heaven. The windows and doors of heaven are open to you. Things will happen that you never thought possible, but you got to get on that vibrational frequency level. You've got to get there. And that's your part. God's not going to come down and smack you around and say, okay, I'm going to pick on you a minute, Marine. He's not going to smack you, Marine, upside the head and say, get in line. He's not going to do that to you. He doesn't work that way. He's not going to do you that way, head trip. He's not going to smack you upside the head and say, come on, wake up. God doesn't do that. You got a reasonable amount of stuff you got to do too. You understand? Just like the prodigal son, you got to turn around and start heading for home. Daddy is waiting there to meet you. Your daddy is waiting there with open loving arms and a heart to meet you, but you got to head for home. You understand that? That's your responsibility. You got to head for home. And you and all of us, we have a loving, merciful Heavenly Father who is waiting eagerly to forgive us and to love us and take us in. But we got to head for home. Don't forget that. And when you get into that vibrational frequency, my friends, you are ready to see the universe and the world around you as God wants you to see it. You will see things that will blow your mind. You will experience things you never thought possible. You will see the unseen. And it's waiting for you. But guess what? You got to turn and head for home. I was going to write a book about that one time. That was my title for the book. I may write it one day. It was called Head for Home. You got to turn and head for home. If you don't, my friends, you'll never get there. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And that is faith. When you step out that first time, that is an act of faith on your part. And your Father is waiting to redeem you for that act of faith. But you got to head for home. It's very important that we know that. And I wanted you to understand that tonight about this lesson about how to see the unseen. I have seen a lot of the unseen in my lifetime. And guess what? I don't ever get tired of it because I want to see more. I want to see more. I want to experience more. I want to know what's there. I want to see it for what it truly is. I want that discernment to know that I'm not being misinformed, misdirected, lied to, cheated on, and treated worse than dirt by these people that do these things, that misdirect and do all this other stuff. They are laughing at you behind your back. I don't want to see anybody done like that. You know what? That makes me mad. I'm ready to fight with you against that because that's not right. There's some things right and wrong in this world, and that, my friends, ain't right. When they start trying to pull the wool over your eyes, when they start trying to deceive you with a bunch of a pack of lies and rumors and all this other stuff, that is wrong as wrong can get. You understand? And that's what we need to fight against. And what's the number one way to fight against that? Discernment. Absolutely. Seeing the unseen, knowing the things that are around us, paying attention to what's really going on in this world. Then we will see things we never saw before. A whole nother universe, world is waiting to open to you if you will only accept it. That's all you got to do. And that's the lesson for tonight. To see the unseen. Love is the ultimate experience. Well, the love of God is, my friend. Absolutely. The love of God is the greatest force in this universe. It's what's keeping you and me alive tonight, right now. It is what one day will take us home. Any questions? I open the class up to questions now. I don't know if I ever told you, but I actually have an honorary professorship in metaphysics, but I never taught it. So I couldn't really call myself a professor. Thank you, Girl Argon, for that sticker. Thank you so much, dear. I appreciate that. Your support is excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. And you're all helping me get my quota tonight, definitely. Thank you so very much. Do you interpret dreams, Dennis? That depends. Sometimes I have been able to interpret dreams a lot. And I took a lot of psychology in my younger days, too. So a lot of these things can be your conscious and unconscious desires. But there are certain dreams, my friend, that may come from God. There are certain dreams you have, and there are certain dreams that can come from other places too. So you have to know what you're really looking at. So yeah, I've had a lot of experience with dreams. Dreams are fascinating. Absolutely. Pay attention to your dreams. Try to remember them. Dreams are like the cobwebs of the mind. As soon as daylight hits them, they go away. But the ones that you remember are extraordinary dreams because you remember them. I was going to go for my doctorate in metaphysics, but life intervened. Yeah, that happens. But guess what? You're still here. You still have a chance, my dear. Go for it. Life is like a bull. You got to grab it by the horns and hold on. Do you get contacted by entities like Bigfoot and your third eye, mind's eye? I think I have, but I don't like to establish communication with these things. And I'll tell you why. Be very, very careful with anything that touches your mind. It can be very, very, very dangerous. It's not good to open those lines of communication because the demonic is always looking to establish that rapport. Be very, very, very careful because once they establish a mental rapport, it's just like fishing. If they hook you, they can reel you in very easily. You've got to be very, very careful with what touches your mind. Uh, I think that the only thing you should do with your mind is prayer and meditation, and the Spirit of God should talk with your mind. But watch out for other things because there are many evil spirits in this world. There are very many dark spirits out there that are wandering around looking and waiting for you to crack that door open so they can get in. And they can do that through your mind very easily, absolutely, and into your life. That happened, if you remember, with the very famous incident of Annabelle, the rag doll, you know, in The Conjuring. That was a tool of the demonic to establish a rapport with those people and get into their lives. That's the way the demonic works. You have to be very careful. Anything that touches your mind, I don't know if it's Bigfoot, dog man, I don't care what it is. Anything that touches your mind, be very, very careful. And another person, for that matter, as well, because they could not be acting on the up and up here. You got to be very careful because you're letting your barriers and shields down, and that is not a good idea. If you were to view that video I did last night for all the members about that handshake, I foolishly let my barriers down. Don't ever do that. It's just like, the ship on Star Trek. If you if you don't raise your shields, you're a sitting duck. Trust me. I know. I've seen it happen to a lot of people in bad, bad ways. So be very, very careful. Keep those shields up. Keep those spiritual shields where they need to be, guarding you, and not ever lower them, for certain entities like that. You're asking for trouble. All right, books. I'm working on it. All right, go for your book, there, girl. On gone. Absolutely, everybody's got books in them. We just need to get them out. Remember this: when I told you about books, put it together like a puzzle. This piece goes here, that piece there, that there. But make sure the pieces fit, and then you got a book. Do you think all people used to be able to mind speak together, but when everyone started talking different languages, ability? I think we have a certain ability to communicate without thought, without talking. Absolutely. Just like I mentioned about your animals, you know what they're thinking. You have a rapport with them that way. Yes, it can be that way. That we do have a certain aspect to us, although that is what speech is all about. Direct communication, on that level of language and speech. That's what the human being is all about. But once upon a time, it could have been a lot more. I think we were once upon a time, I think in this world, people were 100% more sensitive to things than they are now. I think as time has gone on, mankind has lost a lot of its sensitivity. And I'm talking about not just physical, but spiritual and mental sensitivity as well. Okay, thank you there, girl. I'm going to put that back up for everybody. I will be on Aquarius Rising Africa with Chantel Mayberg. We will be talking about the cryptids of the Carolinas. You need to hear it. Even if you don't live in the Carolinas, this is going to be interesting, okay? Because we've got some very strange critters here in the Carolinas, okay? Absolutely. I may even throw a wampus cat in there, a wampus cat or two. You never know. But look, I'm going to tell you what. You live with somebody for a while, 10, 20 years. You can look at that person. If you're really sensitive, you can almost tell what they're thinking. You can almost, fathom what they're thinking. Unless it's a woman. Women, you never know. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, you can kind of look at somebody and feel what they're thinking or what they know, what they're going to do. A lot of times, I'm not saying every time, but I'm saying you can pick up on that. You understand what I'm saying? You pick up on that, whether you realize it or not. That is part of what you are. That sensitivity is very important. I live in Texas, but South Carolina is my other home. I lived there one time in Texas, Charleston's full of stuff. Charleston's a beautiful city. I love Charleston. Been there many times. Had a whole lot of paranormal experiences and investigations in Charleston. Absolutely. I'll have to tell you all about it sometime. Thank you, Jason. Glad to have you here. But we need to get more in touch with our sensitivity. I've had over the years, I've talked about this before. I've had a lot of people, have had problems with the sensitivity, especially women. They would say, why is this picking on me? Why am I feeling this? I say, well, that's your nature. You're a woman, especially. You are made more sensitive than the male. The female is more sensitive than the male for one very important reason. She is the life bearer. She bears the life. She is the guardian over life. She has a more important job than the man does. So she's been given that intuition we talk about so much. Okay, as Rudyard Kipling used to say, you can run into the male tiger, he might cut you a break. Female with cubs, she ain't gonna do that. She's gonna get you. She's gonna be all over your rear end, buddy, because she's got some cubs to protect. She's the most dangerous of the species. Don't ever forget that. The female is the deadlier of the species. She's built that way. She's made that way. I'm sorry. Mother Nature made you that way. And that's what I would tell these women. I'm sorry. You're going to have to learn to live with that. You're going to have to learn to cope. You're going to have to learn to direct it and focus it the way you need to, because it is part of you. You can't stop it. It's part of you, but it can be a blessing more than a curse if you will go at it that way. You got to address it that way. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I used to have a teacher. And I need to carve these words in stone. Okay. She was a great teacher. I had a lot of great teachers over the years. She would say, now, she would tell you something. And then she would say, now you know the truth. Now you must act accordingly. It's one thing to know what's right. It's another thing to do it. To do what's right. And that's what you got to do. That's what Theodore Roosevelt once said. And that's very true. Okay, you got to apply yourself to it. It's one thing to know something. It's one thing to have knowledge, but you got to also apply yourself to that. Or you're not getting anywhere. Well, yeah, that's just the way women are built. And don't argue with it. That's the way they're built. That's the way they're made. They can nurse babies. Men can't. Come on now. There's two sexes here we're talking about. Male, female. Okay? No matter what you want to call yourself. Unless you surgically fix yourself differently. That's the way you're built. Nature built you that way. God had you came out. It's not me. I didn't do it. Had nothing to do with it. You didn't have anything to do with it either. Applied knowledge is power. Absolutely. You're wrong. Absolutely. But we've got to understand the gifts that we have been given. And I put this on my Facebook the other day. Some people can see things that others cannot because they have been given that gift. Okay? And they take things on a different level than you and I do. They feel them. They experience them on a different level. Have you ever heard the term call born? I was call born. Some of you out there may have been call born. That's an old superstition. If you are born with a call, you can see what others cannot see. You will see things that others will not be able to see, supposedly. Okay? I wonder if my friend Jessica was born with a call. Anyway, you can see things others cannot see, supposedly. I mean, maybe that's why I've seen and experienced a lot of the supernatural stuff. I don't know. But it seems like sometimes the universe can kind of pick on you, too. Say, yeah, I think I'll go mess with M13 tonight and get them to see something, Sometimes it picks us out, to do things. But sometimes we're all ready for that. We've already got that opening for it, Thank you for a great show and a great chat. Been lurking on and off. My youngest daughter just got married. Oh, well, congratulations, Hillary. Send out congratulations. Absolutely, Blue Eye Bandit. But yeah, I hope, what I've taught you tonight has sunk in a little bit, and now you need to apply it. Now you need to act accordingly and understand that there is a whole universe of the unseen around you, but you can see it if you want to bad enough. If you want to, you can see it. The ball is in your court. Okay? Play it. That is if you want to see the unseen. Some people don't want to see it and they close themselves off to it. That's okay if that's the way they want to work it. That's that's their business. I'm not here to be judgmental about it, but I want to see everything that I can see. That's just me. I want that discernment. I want to understand. I want to know the truth for what it truly is, not what somebody may tell me it is or what somebody wants me to believe it is. I want to see it for what it truly is, because that is the true truth. And that, I think, as human beings, is what we absolutely deserve. We don't deserve to be lied to, cheated on, misdirected, misinformed. We need the real truth so that we can make the real decisions that we need to make. Absolutely. I believe in that 100%. And I will stand for that till the day I die. As long as there's breath in my body, I will always stand for the truth. No matter what. How do you personally contact me? You can contact me at DennisWCarroll.com. I have a website. Or you can also contact me at DennisWCarroll@gmail.com. It's all in the ticker down there at the bottom. But the best way to get me is DennisWCarroll.com. Okay. Thank you, girl. I'll put that up. That's the website. And that's how you reach me. Okay. There's a thing on the website that will let you communicate with me, and that sends me an email as well. I have a lot of people contact me with cases through the website. Okay. So feel free to do so. And my email also is DennisWCarroll@gmail.com. It's just like that, gmail.com. Is just leave the Gmail out or add the Gmail, and there you go. No problem. And feel free to communicate with me at any time for anything, whatever the purpose of it is. You just want to tell a story, you want to ask a question. If I don't know the answer, we will find it together. Okay. I don't know everything, folks. No, sir. No, ma'am. I never claim to know everything, and I never will know everything. And that's kind of relief to me. I don't think I want to know everything, but we can find the answers if we're both actively looking together. We can find them. Stay prayed up. Yeah, that's a good thing. Praying, don't worry. I don't know if there are any contracts against me. Well, we could talk about that, absolutely. But I think you will know without a doubt. You will feel it if you feel there's some kind of contracts against you. Okay. If things are going differently, things are going bad for all. And I've said this before, bad things happen to good people. But when it starts happening at a monumental rate, then you need to examine what's really going on there. So people that may have contracts or spells or curses put against them, you will know without a doubt something's going on, because you will have an extraordinary amount of bad luck. Okay. When that happens, then yes, you definitely need to contact someone that can direct you to what you need to do. If you feel like there's something going on, then there may be a reason why you feel like that. You understand? What I talked about earlier tonight, the sensitivity. If you feel something, go with that feeling and say, maybe I need to check it out. Yeah. All right, Gemini Moon, that's fine. It's okay if you out there, anybody out there wants to lurk, as long as you out there lurking. That's okay with me. I'm happy with that. Okay, that's support too. Okay, absolutely. But I understand, a lot of times people put these programs on and go about doing their housework or whatever it is. That's okay. Yeah, life happens. We all got to deal with stuff. Absolutely. But anyway, I'm glad you all got to be here tonight with me. I hope you I've given you some food for thought here tonight. Okay, if you want to see the unseen, you can do it. Trust me. Okay, you can do it if you want to. That is, if you want to. But the whole thing is, it's good to have food with thought to munch on. Absolutely. It's way beyond what is normal. Okay, well, you need to contact me, Freedom Lover, at DennisWCarroll.com, and we need to talk about that, okay? We'll talk about it and see what needs to be done, okay? Absolutely. So feel free to contact me when you get a chance, okay? That's DennisWCarroll.com. Okay, and it's in the ticker down there too, okay? But feel free to contact me. I do not charge anything for my services. Never have and never will. Okay. Observe and listen, practice noticing. There you go, M13. You got the lesson. Okay. Thank you there. That is the Girl on the Gong. Thank you so much. That is the website. Again, I'll leave that up for the rest of the program here. Okay. But if any of you need to contact me, don't forget what I've said before, and I always reiterate this. This is your podcast, too. I'm here for you. I hope you're here for me, because I'm here for you. I'm in your corner. I'm on your side. Okay? Don't ever forget that. You're not in this alone. Don't ever let these demonic forces or this darkness in this world or anything, anybody or anyone cut you off and make you believe you are alone, because that is the biggest lie of all. You are never alone. Okay? God is with you. And God sends people for you. You are never alone. Okay? If angels don't show up, God sends people to show up. Okay? So you are never alone. I'm in your corner, definitely. Okay? So please, if you have any kind of problem, any questions, you got a story you want to tell me, you want to shoot the breeze, whatever the situation. I got a lot of people, so I don't want to worry you. I know I'm very busy, but hey, I will make time for you. Okay? Pure and simple. All right? Don't forget that. It's very important that you remember I'm in your corner and on your side. Well, thank you, Head Trip. I try to develop that. You know what? Something we all need to realize, okay? When we look at our fellow man, we don't need to judge them. We're not here to be their judges. We're not here to condemn them. I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not here to to thwart anybody in any way. Okay, when you look at your fellow human being, male or female, black, white, red, whatever color, whatever persuasion, whatever religion, whatever nationality, whatever the situation, you're not here to judge or condemn that person. You're here to love that person. You got to look at that person as another child of God, just like you are, just worth as much, the same and equal as you are in the eyes of God. That person is worth just as much to you, to God, as you are. There's no difference. Doesn't matter how much money you got, how much big your bank account is, how many yachts or Rolls Royces you got parked out front. It don't matter. We're talking about the real deal in this universe, is where you stand with God. And God looks at everybody the same, but he looks at the heart. He doesn't look at the outside. He doesn't care how beautiful or ugly you are, or what color you are, or what clothes you got on. God doesn't look at that. God looks at the human heart, and that's what we need to do. We need to look past the surface and see that that's another human heart. That is another child of God. And once we understand that, the worth of that person, then we can love that person on another level altogether. And that is God's love. Unconditional, free and open. That's the way God loves. But you got to accept that. That's where you come from. My daughter and husband have been sitting under a lot of judgmental comments, church, and they have got discouraged. It's sad, all because judgment. Absolutely. You know, even Jesus did not come here to judge nobody. Did you hear that? You remember that? Jesus said, I'm not come here to condemn the world. I've come to save it. He had a mission. If anybody could be a judge, he was the one that could be a judge. But he wasn't here to judge that. That wasn't his job. There will be a judge one day that you and I, all of us together, will stand before, the judge of the dead and the quick, the living and the dead. That's the one judge we need to worry about. God will judge us not for what we are, but for things we have done and how we respected or did not respect his son and what he has done for us. I'm going to tell you something. What did the Bible say? A real good mother or father, when your child asks for bread, does not give them a rock. God's not going to give you a rock. He's going to give you eternal, everlasting bread. And that is Jesus Christ. If you refuse that, that's your fault. You ain't going to get fed tonight. You ain't going to go nowhere with that. But if you receive it, that's all that matters. My favorite thing, I would love to have been there that day when they accused that woman of adultery and were going to stone her to death. You know? What did Jesus tell that woman? Woman, where are thy accusers? You know, he told them, for the first, anybody without any sin, go ahead and throw the first rock here. Go ahead. They all dropped their rocks and walked off. Jesus said, woman, where are thy accusers? And she said, they're gone, Lord. He said, neither do I accuse you. Go your way and sin no more. That's all God asks of us. That's very simple, isn't it? I would love to have been there that day. It was a great day. Another time I'd love to have been there is when that rock rolled away and he said, he shouted, Lazarus, come forth. That was a wonderful day too. How can anybody with any right mind in this world refuse somebody like Jesus Christ, who was the man? He was the Son of God. How can you refuse that? How can you turn your back on that? How can you say that he was not what he was? How can you believe that lie? The lies they tell against Jesus. How can you believe those lies? Because he was the truth, the way, the truth, and the life. And God gave us that. He gave us the way, the truth, and the life. They are new Christians. That's why I'm bothered about them. Well, they need to go find another church. I hate to say that, but that's what they need to do. I tell you what, I walked into a lot of churches that have had bad spirits through them. And I walked into some churches that have had good spirits. That's where you need to be, where you feel good at, where you feel wanted at, where you feel respected and accepted. Not where you're not. When you're disrespected and not accepted, you need to leave. Because they got the problem, not you. Yeah, that was a beautiful day. Lazarus, come forth. You know what? You know, it's very interesting what Jesus prayed before that. He said, Father, I know you can do this. I'm not asking you to do this. And I know you can do this. I'm doing it for them. I want you to do it for them so that they will believe. Lazarus, come forth. And he walked out of that grave like a mummy. He was wrapped up, you know. He walked out of there. And Jesus proved that day that he had power over hell and death. That was a powerful day. There you go. Keep talking to them. They don't need to stay with. I'll tell you what. It's like I said that before. I am no man or woman's judge. Nobody. I only am my own judge. I want to judge myself, but nobody else. That's not my job, and I don't want that job. No, thank you. You couldn't pay me to do that, by the way. No. But a real judge judges by the law, not by what he wants. There's a lot of judges in the world today that are judging by what they want, certain political things that they want. That's not a real judge, by the way. A real judge goes by the law of the land. But you got corrupt judges too. There you go. Too long, surprise. Yeah, they said he was already smelling bad. They didn't know. I find the whole entire love of life is so around its entirety is without doubt forever knowing. Absolutely. And that's the way God put us together. That's the way we're built. Let's see. That's a great advice. Keep looking up. Man corrupts everything. Well, because we are infected with sin. We are not perfect. One day when we go home, we will be perfect. We will know true perfection. But until that day, we are not perfect. We fail. We fall. We disgrace ourselves sometimes. We do the wrong things because we're human. That should not be an excuse, though. There's really no excuse for doing that. But we do use it as an excuse, unfortunately. But we are imperfect. And imperfection will never, ever, ever, ever truly produce anything perfect. I'm sorry. That's just the way it works. Only perfection can create perfection. But imperfection cannot create perfection. That's just the way it works. That is why God is perfect. The Bible says God is perfect in all of his ways. All of his ways. He is perfect. That's what makes him holy and righteous and makes him God. That's why Jesus said, no one, not anyone, not me, not no one is good except the Father. Well, that name Jesus does a lot. Trust me, I've seen it work. I've seen demons run from it. Okay? I've literally seen them run from it. That name means a lot. Whether you want to call him Yeshua or Jesus, whatever, demons recognize that name Jesus Christ. They do. They recognize that. And if it scares them, I'm all for it. Well, we definitely will be praying for them and all others like them who are being judged for all the wrong reasons. Definitely. And we need to understand that that is not what we're here for. We're not here to judge our fellow human beings. We're here to uplift them, uphold them, love them above all things. Love thy neighbor as thyself, and love God with all your heart, soul, and mind. These are the two things that everything else hangs on. That's what Jesus said. I didn't make that up. Jesus said that. Those are the two commandments that everything hangs on. He was a man of perfect wisdom, of discernment, and logic. When he says something, you can take it to the bank. It's being correct and right. You know, negative entities. In the name of Jesus Christ, I rebuke you, I bind you, I cast you out. Be gone forever. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost. By the name and the blood of Jesus Christ. Be gone. That's how you rebuke things. Of course, you do it with force. Do it as a command. You're using the authority that God has given you. You and I, we all of this as believers, have the authority over all this stuff, folks. We do. But we'll never use that authority if we don't own up to it, if we don't believe it, you know? But I appreciate you all being here tonight. This has been a fascinating subject. I hope you will go out and practice some of this stuff and that you too will see the unseen. It's out there waiting for you to see. Okay. But approach it the right way now. Don't get obsessed with seeing things and demons and playing around with that kind of stuff. I'm talking about to see things for what they truly are, mainly, but to see things that are there that are not normally seen. We need to open ourselves up and understand what's truly going on in the environment around us. Okay. But I hope you have enjoyed this lesson tonight. And Friday night on Paranormal Point of View, you don't want to miss this show. Here's the name of it. Are you ready? Vampires I have known. That's Friday on Paranormal Point of View, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there or be aware. Okay. All right. Be there or be square. I don't know if people remember that one. Anyway, you definitely want to see this one. Vampires I have known. And I've done some vampire hunting in my days, folks. Okay. We're going to talk about that Friday night. Okay. This will be a lot for some of the new people that have not heard some of this stuff. And I might throw some more interesting stuff in on it too. So I think you will find it very interesting. Okay. Absolutely. And I appreciate you all so very much. I appreciate the stickers tonight and the support and financial and just being here, the lurkers and all the rest of you. I appreciate all of you for being here tonight and for supporting this channel. It's very important. Your support is everything. Okay. I want to tell you something, and I'll be honest with you. I get very discouraged sometimes. Okay. I get very depressed, discouraged, and disheartened sometimes by some of this stuff. And it seems like I'm not, getting anywhere, Seems like I'm just digging a hole deeper and deeper sometimes. And I get discouraged too. I'm only a human being. But when I see the support that we have, that you give me, when I see you sticking up for me, that gives me the courage to go on. It gives me the courage to fight, to stand up and fight again another day. And I want to tell you how much I appreciate that. I want you to know that every single one of you, that how much I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. How much it means to me. It's even as a writer, it's hard to express, but trust me, I do appreciate that very, very much more than you know. Okay, and that's part of what's keeping me going, definitely. And I want you to know that, and I want you to know that I appreciate you. You are friends and family here. And like I said before, I'll say it again. This is your podcast as well as mine. You have a voice. And as long as I live and there's breath in this old body, this broken down old scholar, I will fight for your voice. They will not stop the frequencies, okay? They will not stop the signal. It's going to go on. And your voice is everything. It's good that you should have a voice, wherever it may be. And I'm just glad I can help you with that. And your voice is important, just like everybody else is. Expressing you, it's not your fault, and you're over True Revelations. They don't want people to know. Keep going. Thank you, Head Trip. I appreciate that. And yeah, there is a lot of suppression going on. Absolutely. And there's a lot of fighting, a lot of enemies out there. But that means we're doing the right thing. That makes me happy in a way because that means we're doing the right thing. We're absolutely right. We're on the right track. And that's where exactly we need to be. Oh, as David Crockett used to say, first figure out if you're right, then go ahead. And when you go ahead, you shouldn't let nothing stop you. That's what you got to do. Okay. But I appreciate you all so very much for being here tonight, for your support of this channel. Thank you for being a friend of Hunting the Shadows. Okay. And I want to thank all the members who are hunting who are shadow hunters. I appreciate you very much for that. And it means a lot to me to have you in my corner. Absolutely. And on the Patreon as well. I appreciate that and all of your support, however it may go. And if you are a member, don't forget that new video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. The handshake. I think you will find it very interesting. All right. I appreciate you all so much. We're going to ring off here now. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the week that's coming up. And we will see you, if the Lord willing and the creeks don't rise, Friday night, 9:00 p.m. for Vampires I Have Known. Be there, and we will see you then. Until we get together again, my friends, non tambo mala, fear no evil. We are shadow hunters. Let the night fear us. There you go. Until we get together again, my friends, Godspeed and ciao. The hunt has begun. Hunting the shadows.